Welcome back to the Real with Joseph Latman. I am Joseph Latman. Happy Sunday Live Browns post game reaction edition, Browns win reaction. As we react to the Browns 31-27 win over the Jacksonville Jaguars today. Before I get into that, though, hit the like button for your boy. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I mean, other times I gotta ask, but hit the like button for me so I can fight these algorithms. I mean, it's rough out here in these YouTube streets. I need your help. That's the least you can do. At least, just hit the like button for me. That's it. That should be automatic on the way in before I even do anything. So, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to hit the like button. Okay, those like buttons better be up by now. But anyway, welcome on in. Breaking down this Browns win today. A big win for the Browns. I thought this was a must win for the Browns. I thought if they would have lost today, not that the season would have been over, but losing 3 games in a row this time of year is not great, and it would have been a bad boost in morale in that locker room. And might have had some guys going 1, 2, 3 Cancun, but that didn't happen. Joe Flacco was the man today. Stepped up, didn't play his best game. He threw a couple, had a bad pick, fumbled a couple times, one time I believe. And that was kind of the story for both offenses today, and for both teams really, just the turnovers. Bad interceptions for Trevor Lawrence. That offensive line he has is terrible, and he just made some bad reads too. Some fumbles. Amari Cooper fumbled the ball, which you don't really see a whole lot of that from Amari, but fumbled the ball today. So that kind of kept Jacksonville in the game. But the Browns still hung on, and Joe Flacco made some nice plays. I thought Kevin Stefanski. First off, Joe Flacco, I think it was over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. We pull it up here. And I thought Kevin Stefanski overall called a pretty good game. Thought he called a nice, clean game. I thought he made adjustments when need be. I mean, I thought, especially, so let's see, Joe Flacco, 26 of 45, 311 yards. They couldn't really get much going on the ground today, the Browns. I think a lot of it is to having third stringers on the offensive line. So you kind of have to get a little more creative, which they did. And David Njoku had a big first half, 2 big touchdowns. I thought the first set of plays in that first series, the scripted plays, were phenomenal. Then they got a little stagnant, but I thought like the second Njoku touchdown on the second drive, or I think that drive was in the middle of the second quarter, right before the half. And so he made so that's Stefanski and Alex Van Pelt, probably Joe Flacco as well. They made some nice adjustments on the side. Got a little more creative in the play calling. They marched right down the field and scored a touchdown. I like seeing that. And I thought in the second half as well, kept the momentum going, came down and scored a touchdown. Kareem Hunt scored. And kind of in that fourth quarter there, it was kind of a back and forth, but you never really felt the Browns were going to lose the game. I thought Jacksonville going for it with 3 timeouts with almost 4 minutes left in the game. I don't understand that. I know Charles Davis was trying to justify it on the CBS broadcast. To me, I don't understand that new football. To me, that's kind of dumb, but I think you punt there. But I think what really won the game, really solidified the game for the Browns was that weird, like, it was like they were third down, and I think Flacco misfired to David Bell. It was a false start penalty, excuse me. And so the back the Browns up 4th and 7, I believe, or 4th and 6, about to punt the ball to Jacksonville. This is the fourth quarter. And the Jacksonville player jumps off sides. Goes and gets the first down. Now, eventually the Browns have to punt again. But, hold on, I think I'm back now. Okay, sorry about that. My internet's a little weird. But I kind of feel like that's when you felt Jacksonville was kind of out of the game, because they were really just felt like they had to really play from behind. They had to burn all their timeouts, and that was all she wrote. So good win for the Browns. Big day for Martin Emerson, who is a first-round talent. Like I said last week, should have been picked in the first round. Derek Stingley's a nice player, but outside of Sauce Gardner in that draft, Martin Emerson was by far the best corner and should have been a first-rounder. And if anybody thinks otherwise, you need to be drug tested. But anyways, my man Mike's in the house.
Hello.
Jersey's in the house.
Hello.
Mike.
Where's Gergs at? Man, I really wish we had a first round talent.
Whoa.
And Martin Emerson. Man, wouldn't it be nice to have a first-round talent out of the third round in Martin Emerson? Where's Gergs? I want to hear him defend it. Here, in year 2, Martin's rookie year, there was one other corner that was better, and that was Tyreek Woolen. But he has sucked in year 2. Martin has only gotten better. And today, like, he was those interceptions, he was just tracking the ball. Like they weren't coverage interceptions. That man was just tracking it and made some amazing plays. Greg had one.
Well, hell, that one catch he made was like a receiver.
Yeah, I know.
Over his shoulder.
Over the shoulder, and he just kept going. And the receiver gave up when he thought he was out. He's like, okay, it's going to be there he is. Yeah. There he is.
Oh, yeah. Mike. Oh, Mike.
Oh, Mike. Oh, what? Oh, so you're wrong now. So now you got to get all sarcastic.
No, I was just starting my clock to see how long until you'll leave this show again. Yeah.
Okay.
What's your phone on? What percentage your phone on right now? It's just
29%. Should last at least an hour.
Okay. Yes. Martin Emerson had a good game today. There's
great game
about it.
Had a lot of good games.
He definitely had a good game.
Yeah.
The difference between me and you is though, I'm only wrong a little bit. You're wrong all the time.
A little bit.
But Mike,
I wasn't wrong about in that mock draft about the Lions needing a corner. Good grief. that was a rough game.
They definitely need a corner and a pass rusher.
Hutch, I haven't really been paying attention too much to the Lions defense. Is Hutch not having a great year?
He's fine. It's just there's no one opposite of him.
Didn't you guys have a defensive tackle that was like getting a bunch of sacks last year? Did he kind of fall off?
Will you stop yelling at me?
Here, Mike. All right, we'll get back to the Browns first.
Yeah.
What did you think of Joe Flacco's performance today, Mike?
If you had told me that there would be a Joe Flacco resurgence on the Cleveland Browns in 2023, I wouldn't have had that on my NFL bingo card. But I thought he played great. I mean, the stats speak for itself. 311 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick. I thought one of the best play calls, and I think one of the best plays of the day was probably David Bell's first ever touchdown catch in the NFL.
That play a lot. The creativity of it and that's kind of what David. I wish they would use David more. I mean, Chris, you mentioned this last week. You watched David in college. I thought he was a pretty good player in college. He just hasn't really been utilized a whole lot here. But it's nice to see him get utilized finally. And
he's getting more effort.
So.
Right. And it was great play. They called trips right, but they were blitzing. So 2 receivers start blocking. David Bell basically goes up the middle. There was a sitting linebacker waiting for a run just in case they picked up the blitz, but they didn't audible into a run. So David Bell gets free. 4th and 3. It was what did he go for? Was it like a 30-yard touchdown catch or a 25 or some shit?
It was like 30 yards, yeah.
Yeah, amazing play.
Probably a 30, 40-yard bomb. Well, not bomb, but run.
Yeah, he threw it. He threw it. Yeah, threw it for 12, and David Bell just went. But yeah, great game from David. Thought Elijah Moore had some good moments. Coop didn't have his best game in the world, but even saying Coop didn't have his best game, he still had 7 catches for 77 yards. So
and Cedric Tillman's getting some more run, which I
yes,
like.
He is.
Eden Tillman. He needs to get more touches. He's 6'3", all 225 of them. Needs to get more touches. He can run too.
Right.
Dad, what did you think of the game today?
I just can't believe Flacco wasn't on a team. It's just sad. You know what I mean? But I think their defense looked awesome. I think that was a overall, we took that game. I think that's one of their best games, even though the score didn't really reflect it. I just felt like that Browns team there was a lot of growth there. I just seemed like a better, more mature team than what we've seen earlier in the season. Just the way they're playing. I don't know if it's just having a guy like Flacco and all his experience, but just him, just the way he's able to. It's just amazing to watch a real veteran quarterback. The way they can just whip the ball around, they just do it with ease. I mean, it's almost like he just floats back there, and just opens so many opportunities up. So that was great. Here again, defense was awesome. I thought it was a really good game, man. It was just, what do we got? 4 more games, or 3 of them are home.
2 of them.
2 of them are home,
and we have 4 more, I think.
So, and then I'm the same way. That I love that play where David Bell got that touchdown. Just kind of way they disguised him back there in that formation, and I mean, you can tell they were sitting on that play for all. You know what I mean? And they definitely caught him off guard. So I thought Stefanski, I thought he caught a good game. I thought, you know what I mean? I thought he called a really good game. I don't think
he made the adjustments throughout the game, which we don't. It's been the inconsistency at times.
Yeah, and I was during the game. You heard me. I was like, man, they should run more. But I think what I saw was, they're good. They're really good against the run. So
you're seeing a depleted offensive line too for the Browns.
Yeah,
I mean,
depleted O-line, and Jacksonville going in today was the 3rd ranked run defense in the NFL. The whole NFL.
Right. So, they ran it when they needed to run it, and it was good. It was a great game. I mean, that place was rocking up there.
Right, and I think it's great that Jerome Ford, even when he can't get anything done on the ground, he is a significantly better pass catching running back, and it's really good. He made some plays coming out of catching the ball out of the backfield on some design checkdowns. The bobble catch, and then he went for 10. Yeah,
I really wish.
Still learning though on the run schemes though. You could tell he's still a little hesitant.
Yeah, he needs to hit the holes harder. It just drives me crazy. This dude takes the hand off and he's just like putzing around. Just hit the holes, man. He just every game
in college, which was just downhill.
Gosh darn, he's sitting there waiting. You don't got that time. Just hit the hole. So that one play where here you probably won't remember, but they ran it off to the left, and they were trying to seal off the edge. If he just would have been running full speed, he could have got around the edge. Instead, we took like a 3 or 4 yard loss. But
I know the play, yeah.
Yeah, just come on, man, hit the holes. But anyway, running back by committee. It's been working.
Yeah. Chris, I know it was a tough day for the Lions, but what did you think of the Browns game today?
Oh, Austin Hedges is back.
Yeah, I mean it.
Chris? Oh,
yeah, you there? Sorry, I got a parlay brewing on this Philly Dallas game.
Cooking. It's in the oven. It's cooking.
So, yeah. Anyways, tough day for the Lions. Browns pulled it off, but like I've told you guys for the last 2 weeks. Don't just shoe in that Chicago Bears team as a loss. Their offense is humming. It's humming right now. They got a lot. They're playing for Justin Fields is playing for his job, and that dude he's talented. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. He's in a better situation.
Also, Jared Goff has been giving the ball away I just don't even understand it. These last 4 games, he's just been giving the ball away.
Dallas just kicked a 60-yarder.
Yeah.
This Dallas team is rolling, man.
What do you think, though, Chris, of how great Martin Emerson is? I mean, isn't he just
first round talent?
I was going to ask you that. What did you think of the?
It's a week-to-week league, and I think as Browns and Lions fans, we should understand that more than anyone.
Yeah.
Because one week we'll look really good, and we'll be a Super Bowl team in our own minds, and then the next week we'll lose to a team we have no business losing to, and then we suck again.
I gotta ask you though, because you made a great point last week when we were talking about, how many games can they score? We lost. We lost Mike. How many games can they score 30 or 20 or more points? Today they were able to score 31. How impressive was that to you?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was definitely probably the best they've looked offensively all year, to be honest. Now, we'll see what happens, if they can consistently do it. But I definitely think this year, this game was the best they've looked offensively for sure. Now, and again, they still gave the ball away a couple times, and Trevor Lawrence helped them out by, getting sacked, I think 4 times, and 3 picks I think he had.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that offensive line for Jacksonville is horrible.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. But
My
again,
Trevor Lawrence take is gaining traction.
Don't look behind you, because there is, I think, about 6 or 7 teams one game back that are all ready to to try to get it into 3 spots. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think Kevin Smith said it best after the game. I mean, every game's a playoff game from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do like where we are. Dad said the Browns and Lions can both beat anyone and also lose to anyone. That's a recipe for a lifelong losing franchises.
Yeah. See. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. We got a new guest, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry.
If he's there, I think he's muted. Jerry.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the room.
Good.
Dad, why don't you introduce Jerry?
Jerry's a friend of mine. He's a really good friend of Lynch. We were hanging out last night at Dushka's 30th birthday party, and I told Jerry's a football guy. Play football. He's got a football mind. And I told him, I said, man, you should come on my son's podcast, because we have a good time. We get on there and talk about football. So he said, absolutely. So just another guest. I told him we love we want all kinds of people on there. So really, really good dude. Always smiling, always happy. And I'm glad to see him on the show. So Jerry, go ahead and tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Joe. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm a former college football athlete. Been dealing with sports my whole life. Come from a sports family, athletic family, and played college football at Ohio University. Ended up sustaining a couple injuries, blew out my ankle, and tore the ligaments, had a spiral fracture. But ever since then, I've been a connoisseur, aficionado of the game, and I just love being around sports, man. So I'm happy to be on the show, and I'm excited to be a part. I'm excited from what I'm hearing. So thank you for the invite too.
Absolutely, man. That sounds Joseph's rebooting, but were you able to watch the Browns today?
I saw bits and pieces of the game. Like you said, Joe Flacco, man. How was he without a job for the last 10 months or so, right? Like, pure pocket passer.
Simmons get the job, but not Joe Flacco.
Right, like like the dude, it's so crazy. Like he's still like efficient, he's still efficient. His mind is still sharp. Obviously, he's not the guy of the past, but as far as a guy who can still sling it a bit, and he's a natural vet that can be an addition to anybody's team. And the fact that we're at our 4th starting quarterback of the season in the game is just amazing to see how we as a team could kind of rally behind that and kind of fill that void, and to keep us pushing. Because man, I mean, if we can get consistent quarterback play, from an attrition standpoint, obviously our guys have been hurt, banged up, but or just lack of playing, right? Like if we can get a consistent guy in there that can perform consistently on a day-to-day, man, and we're playing with our fifth rotation of our O-line. I mean, we got Conklin out, we got Jedrick Willis out, we got a few guys, Hosai, I think he went down.
Dewan Jones out.
Yeah, Dewan, yeah. So
Coach
I mean,
is now out.
Yeah, so it's amazing what we put together out there today. They say next man up.
What position did you play in college?
So I actually came in as a 3 technique, a defensive tackle. I
Yeah.
played nose as well, and actually in that spring, after the season, I actually played offensive guard and tackle as well. So, I mean,
Oh,
I
wow.
played both sides from the interior to the outside. So, I
Yes,
understand
you
it all.
understand the trenches better than anybody. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's something I've been talking about a lot on this show. But what I like about this Browns team, I think what's helped them throughout all this adversity this year is the trenches.
Most
Just how
definitely.
reliable they are. Next man up. And I
Mhm.
think you must love watching our defensive line. And Mike and I were talking about before the season how good we thought they were. And I think they've overexceeded expectations, especially a guy like what's Double O Okoronkwo.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
I like him a lot. His energy. I think you got the veteran, which how important that is, having leaders in the locker room, guys like Zadarius Smith.
Mhm.
Leaders which they haven't had. What's your take overall though on this defense resurgence this year, especially up front? I mean, because that's where it starts. It starts up front. You have bad trenches. I think that's why I've never been like a team like Cincinnati. That's why Joe Burrow keeps getting hurt because their trenches are horrible.
Oh
they
yeah.
can't. They're not good on. I mean, they've a couple good guys. Trey Hendrickson, but outside of that, I mean, they can't protect the guy. Look where he is. Unfortunately, you want to see him get hurt. But, what's your take though on this Browns defense and kind of what you've seen this resurgence this year with Jim Schwartz?
Yeah, I'd say, man, honestly, elite, right? Like we have a Hall of Fame great, that loves to be in our locker room. He's a player's player, I would say, as far as like a teammate that you would never not want to be around, a teammate that you wouldn't want to, rally with and go to war with, right? And from the inside out, even Tomlinson and a couple of the guys inside out, right? Like, our guys are very gap efficient, or they have crazy gap integrity, right? For each scheme, there's always, responsibility from the inside out. However, our guys are so dominant and they're able to play essentially what I like to call 2 positions, right? Like Myles Garrett is a 3-position player, right? And from a standpoint of, he takes a half of a field, right? You got a guy blocking him, you got a double team, and you got a chipper coming for just Myles Garrett, right? So then you got Zadarius Smith, who we were smart enough to get somebody to complement him and to be able to cause havoc on the other side, because you got free players, as they would say. And from that standpoint, that allows us to, win one-on-one matchups from the inside guys. They're taking up, gaps and stuff for our backers to flow. We have, an undersized linebacker and
JOK.
what's that? Say that again.
You said JOK?
What's his name? No. From Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's JOK. Owusu Koromoa.
Yeah. JOK. Yes. My bad.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. He's a hard hitting guy. They thought he was going to be a hybrid, DB, right? But he's filled the role of that, elite, fast moving linebacker that can lay the wood. And then you got Anthony Walker, who I think he tore his quad last year, so he was out 15 games or so, 14 games, but
He's
comes
a
back.
great leader in the middle of that defense.
Yes.
Oh, they love him in the locker
guy.
room.
Yeah, you could tell you could tell a guy who's who's a great communicator in the middle, which you have to have. He's definitely that guy. I like him a lot.
Oh yeah. He's a guy that, like I said, you got players on the defense where you rally around them, right? Like players you want to play with, right? It creates that, culture, that morale that creates our defense to be elite, right? Like when you have those guys there that are performing at a high level, right? And they're buying into what Schwartz is doing, right? And then you have elite, DBs, right? I mean, you got Denzel Ward, who's going to be Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, I believe. And then you got, Del Pitt back there, just signed his extension. You got, Emerson and these guys, you got guys who want to play ball, right? I mean, we got the number 1 defense in the league for a reason, right? Everybody's
a lot of versatility on that defense.
Yes.
We can match up with just pretty much anybody because, like you said, even a guy like JOK, who they thought was going to be a tweener coming out, between a safety, a hybrid, and a linebacker. But has put on that weight in the offseason. I think came back this year. And last year, he had a lot of stuff off the field, too. He had lost his brother. And
right.
Yeah, this was probably when they would have focused. And that was a bad scheme for his skill set anyways. But I think this new scheme with Jim Schwartz has done and just allowing guys to play downhill, allowing guys to attack the ball. And I think the difference this year too, Mike, you saw this we talked about this in the offseason, but last year just they weren't a great tackling team.
No.
Just fundamentally. And this year they are.
Right. And I think that really starts too with the defensive coordinator change.
Categories.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Woods was an absolute. I'm just going to say the meme. Joe Woods was an absolute war criminal, just like with what he did to that defense last year. It was hard to watch, and the issue was he didn't shore up the trenches like you were saying. I mean, you add Dalvin Tomlinson, who's, in my opinion, probably one of the most underrated defensive tackles in the league. He can play three tech. He can play nose tackle. Shelby Harris, Maurice Hurst, who had, I think, a sack and a half today and some tackles for loss. I mean, good for Maurice Hurst too, who's dealt with injuries his whole career since he left Oakland when the Raiders were still in Oakland.
Well, it's like I heard you. Chris just said go blue. Chris,
Roll
you remember how good Maurice Hurst was in college. He was excellent. I mean, he was a top 15 pick, wasn't he, for the Oakland when they picked him? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think he went in the 20s, but yeah.
He was a first rounder.
Yeah.
So good to see the Maurice Hurst resurgence, and kind of like how Jerry said, just it gives Schwartz not only the ability to have all of these unique rushing capabilities, but also you can play man again and again and again, and it almost is it's so complementary to his scheme, because near the end of the third quarter, we were running 3 backup safeties because, Grant Delpit went out with a groin injury. Hope he's okay. Juan apparently went out in the first quarter with a calf injury. And then you're running, and McLeod's been out for the season. So you're running Ronnie Hickman, undrafted rookie out of OSU. You're running DeAnthony Bell, second-year guy out of he's the first kid out of his college to actually make it to the NFL. I can't remember what college it was, and also we were running another undrafted rookie who's a corner at safety, 25. I can't pronounce his name to save my life, and it's just so good to see. Caldice.
Yeah, he was with the Chiefs before the season, and they let him go. But I liked him better than the other kid, Ford. Ford's just not that good.
Ford was not signed to have to play actual corner. He was signed to be.
He's fine on special teams, but
he plays good on special teams. That's what we signed him for.
He's too stiff to be a corner.
Yeah,
he can't open up his hips or turn his hips. I mean, that's why he keeps getting beat. But
at this point, though, if Andrew Berry picks a DB, I'm just going to trust him. But I've never heard of him before. I'm just going to trust that the kid's going to be one of the best in the league. Cam Mitchell has been playing great when his number's called.
Nice rotational piece. I like him a lot. Plays hard.
Smart player too.
Yeah, very smart player. And that listen, they're
Northwestern DBs, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean they're loaded. I mean that defense is so. It just comes down to this offense, and I would ask you guys, Dad, I'll start with you. What did you think today at the passing game with the Joku? Tillman got a little more involved. David Bell finally got his first career touchdown. I mean, what do you think of the passing game with Joe Flacco and what you could see what they could do compared to when we had PJ Walker in there and DTR? It was a little more limited.
Well, it's always better when you can spread the love. When you can get more and more guys involved, it makes it hard on a defense. And I just think it's just so easy for Flacco. You just watch. I mean, it's just amazing to sit. I'm going to go back to it again. It just shows you how terrible the quarterback play is in the NFL today in this day and age, when a 38-year-old guy can come out and because he's a legit pocket passing quarterback, and it just seems like he just does it with ease. I mean, the pressure comes in, he just steps aside. He doesn't panic. So it's just, I think he knows that more than anybody. Obviously, he's spreading it around, and it was great. I think Cooper had 14 targets. I saw Njoku, I think, had a total of 8 targets. Or 6 targets maybe. So yeah, I like seeing Njoku in there. It's always good. I like Njoku. We don't need to be relying on him too heavily, but mean, you get that kind of production out of a tight end, 91 yards and 2 touchdowns, and still getting all your other guys involved makes it tough for the defense. That's why you're getting 31 points. But I give it all here. I like what Stefanski's doing, and Flacco's the difference.
Yeah, Jerry, I got to ask you a question. We've had a lot of heated debates on this podcast about Kevin Stefanski and his play calling, which I think at times has been up for criticism. I've criticized him at times. I think sometimes he gets a little too inconsistent, and his in-game decision making can get me a little wacky sometimes. But I thought today he was a lot better. He's gotten a lot better this year at times. I'm curious your thoughts overall on Kevin Stefanski, Jerry, and what do you think of him as the head coach and his play calling?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I honestly I agree with you, right? Like even for the last few years, even with the Baker era, right? Like I think there's a lot of inconsistencies in what we're trying to do, right? Obviously, we're a running team first, and even the quarterback that we brought in, right? He's a playmaker. He's not a pocket passer, and I think a lot of our play selection. Like you said, it's questionable. Even within how we use Njoku, right? Njoku is a solid tight end as far as obviously great blocker. As far as creatability after the catch, he's not elite. I would say he gets the job done. But how we use all the pieces that we have when we're all healthy, even when we're not healthy, trying to do the play action rollout, even with Flacco, right? I don't know if they noticed, but a lot of the rollout, it was not working for us early on. That I should say, like I said, I only seen bits and pieces, but our play action game is not working well because at the moment we're pass first, right? Even though it looks like we try to run the ball, we're doing a lot of stretch plays. We're not really doing inside zone, right? Where our play calling is not working as far as who we are and the identity of who we are right now. I would say that for sure. But the talent that we have on our team, it kind of outweighs a lot of. It kind of covers a lot of the mistakes, I would say. And I think that if we're thinking scheme wise, I think we should be like Kyle Shanahan, right? I think more so than anything when we're healthy, right? When we have our thoroughbred back there, even when we have let's say I don't know, we have Jerome Ford taking the majority of the carries, and we try to get Kareem Hunt going, but our scheme with Joe Flacco, we don't need to be a run heavy team. As we can see, he can throw the ball. He can throw it around.
He's also athletes. I think he's what 6'4", so compared to guys we've had guys at 5'11" at quarterback.
6'6", actually.
Yeah, he's a big boy. 6'6", what 240?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
It's much easier. I think it's a lot easier for offensive linemen too when you have a guy back there that's taller. As compared to the guys we've had that 5'11", 6 foot. It's very rare that a guy that's those height at those quarterbacks can come in and be effective consistently. But I think you make a great point too about the play action. I thought today the play action was a lot better throughout the game. But I think you make a good point though about the outside running scheme and a lot of those rollouts as well. When you have guys like James Hudson and Gerard Chrisman out at tackles, you're putting them in a rough spot. You're trying to ask him. We're asking James Hudson to block one of the best pass rushers today, Josh Allen all game, and rolling out. It's things like that. Rolling out to the right side, and I think that's sometimes, like you point out, the little details like that just don't seem to be. It doesn't show consistently sometimes.
Yeah, and not only that, our offense was tailor made for the guys that we had, as far as Watson, as far as DTR, right, as far as even PJ, right? Like they're not pocket passers,
more athletic guys.
Yeah. So you have those rollouts in there, and I know Flacco's only been there 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but we need to remove all those plays out of there for him,
Right. You gotta
right? Because
simplify it more. Yeah.
yeah, because we don't need all the movement, right? We can get
Yeah.
it done. I think there are a couple times when Coop had one-on-one coverage, and we did the whole check with me, right? Where
Mm.
basically Coop is ISO'd. I think where was he at the top of
On
the
the right
boundary,
side.
and
Yeah.
yeah, man up, and literally, it was a 3-step drop, and Coop does a choice route, and we hit him. Those are the type of things that we can get it done with simplification, right? Just being big vanilla, right? There's all these things, Stefanski, he likes to, be creative. He likes to get all these things going and, motion and all these different, play action stuff, which is fine, but, we don't need it. We're elite.
Yeah, I think like you said too, like just keep it more vanilla. Like I was talking, my dad and I were watching the game today. There was a lot of like those quick slants he was throwing it to Maury today. It was 3-step drops, just boom, right on the right on the hash, and it worked. And I told my dad, I was like, it looks like they're running his offense from like the Ravens back in like 2008. Yeah, I mean, just more simple, a little more vanilla. But I think you make a great point because you have to do that, especially when you have 3 guys down on the offensive line. You got a Gerard Crispin, you got James Hudson, you got Nick Harris now at center. I mean, you got a lot of guys that haven't got a lot of reps out there. You need to simplify it for them. If you overcomplicate it for them, they're gonna be prone to make more mistakes, and it's not gonna go that well for you.
All respect to Gerard Christian, though, who has actually played pretty decently since Jed has been out.
But he's not. He may, I mean.
No, I know. He's
you
not.
Don't want to. Like, I think that's why
he was on the street for a reason.
Yeah, that's why I think a lot of that outside running hasn't worked a whole lot because these tackles aren't great in that area. I'd
say it's a mix of that and even what your dad was saying. Like, Jerome Ford obviously didn't expect to be our starting running back this year, but like there's something. There's something they got to get him that they got to get his college brain washed, if you know what I mean. Like he's looking for the play how it's written up is how I'm saying. Like, hey, here are the blocks, boom, boom, you're gonna get this hole. So that's what he's looking for. He's not making any, adjustments during the carry, and he's like your dad said, he starts to, he starts to stutter, he starts to stop, starts to question.
I totally get what you're saying. But I'm just as somebody who watched him because I watched Cincinnati in those years because my best friend was on the team and then eventually came the coaching staff there. But I watched Jerome Ford from start to finish Cincinnati, and he's always best, like Jerry was saying, running downhill in between the tackle or in between the guards, following that interior of that line. If you go watch him in college, running the A gap, B gap, that's where he always ran, and he was phenomenal going downhill. He's a downhill guy. That's how he plays in college. And you could swing him out. He's a great pass catcher, like you said. He's showing more of those skills.
Right.
He's got 2 receiving touchdowns this year. But what are you going to say? I
think he has 3 or 4, actually.
I'll just say he's just not playing football. You know what I mean? A tailback.
They're asking him to do something that he didn't really do his college career.
You're right. Part of it is the play calling. You know what I mean? Obviously, he just don't seem comfortable. Like he's just sitting there stuttering. He's just jogging. It's like he's just waiting on a hole to develop. And I get that. That's part of the play design. But it seems like every game, this guy just I played tailback, and obviously, I love the position. I love running the ball. I like violent runners, and I think that you just can't hesitate. He's hesitating is what he's doing instead of just hitting the hole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about Chubb. Chubb just hits the hole. You know what I mean? He just goes right through that little crease. There's no hesitation. So you just don't got time to do that in the NFL. These guys are
all his movement is forward. All movement has to be forward.
Yeah.
No negative steps. No.
And that's what I've always said about Nick Chubb. The thing that makes Nick Chubb so great is there's no wasted motion in his runs. Every time he carries the ball, there's every movement in his body is so efficient. It's like it don't even seem like he's burning off any energy.
It may not be linear, but it's still going forward.
But it's just so tight, so precise, so You know what I mean? It's just like he hits those tight little creases and just goes right through. There's just no wasted energy in what Chubb does, and I think that's what separates him from everybody else. And so maybe Ford can watch some tape of Chubb and just start hitting those damn holes. Just hit the son of a bitch. Just, my gosh, be a violent runner.
Yeah,
especially in this division.
I have a question for Jerry, if it's cool.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Hey Jerry, you're a college ball guy. You like college ball?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Awesome. Because me and Joseph and Joe, for that matter, absolutely love the NFL draft. It's one of our favorite things. We get together in a party and all that good stuff. And you being a D lineman in college, what are some D linemen that are coming up this year that you think aren't getting enough traction or aren't being talked enough about that you think could actually like transition to the NFL pretty well? I'm actually curious to see because I haven't started my little scouting yet.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys are hip to the lineman at Illinois. I know he's I think the top ranked lineman, defensive tackle, interior guy. He's been a 3-year starter there. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but
He's an offensive tackle, you said?
no, defensive tackle.
Oh, defensive tackle. Okay.
Yeah, and I think he just moved up pretty high on the draft board, but he's not. I mean, teams aren't really talking about him, because Illinois is kind of not really the team to talk about. But he's got a quick twitch, as they say. He's very elusive. I think he has honestly an Aaron Donald game, right? And Aaron Donald, he's elite of the elites. But this guy has the size. I think he's about 6'3", 295, but he's light foot and he plays the pass rush very well, which NFL's pass rush. Stout on the inside, but he can translate, from nose to the 3 technique. And honestly, I think he's fast enough to play the defensive end position, but I think he is going to be, whoever picks him up in the right scheme, I think he's going to be immediate dominant player in the NFL.
Ooh, like a Chris Jones kind of player, because that's what Kansas City does with him a lot. Is because they'll move Chris Jones everywhere, which is why even at least right now, Aaron Donald is the best probably defensive tackle ever. But at least right now, Chris Jones is top of my board.
Mike, I gotta argue with you on that. Reggie White, dude. Reggie White.
Reggie White's up there too.
No, Reggie White's not up there too. Reggie White is the man.
I thought that isn't Reggie White officially listed as an end, or am I stupid?
No, he was too big. He was
listed as an end, but I'm an Aaron Donald guy too. When I say I love Reggie White, I love Reggie White, but I'm an Aaron Donald #1 guy too.
Yeah,
Reggie White was the man.
I've never seen a guy just get so many sacks and so much pressure up the interior when you're not only having to deal with, because most of the time those double teams you're going past a guard and a center. Miles is a Hall of Famer for sure, but you're pulling, a tight end over there, or you're chipping him with a running back. But Aaron Donald just spearing.
Jerson Newton, who actually went to Clearwater Central Catholic. Dad, he's from St. Petersburg.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is the cat of Illinois.
Yeah, he's from Clearwater, Florida, which is my second home. So yeah, Jerson Newton, 6'2", 295. So
yep, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, animal. He's an animal.
Jared, I got to ask you because Chris is. All of us, Jerry, just so you know, like Mike, Chris, myself, we all work, Jeremy, we all know each other. We all worked at the Superstore together, and everyone's left there. So we all go way, way back.
Man.
Chris is from Detroit.
Oh, boy. So he's a
Michigan guy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Michigan-Alabama game? How's that going to go down?
Okay, so I think
Dallas Turner about to eat JJ McCarthy is what I think, but that's just me. Dallas Turner's a dog, dude. We're talking about edge rushers. That man's going to make JJ McCarthy lunch, but I'll let Jerry speak.
I think this is what I think. I think I'll tell you what, the Michigan coaching staff, even though I'm a Ohio State fan, right? The Michigan coaching staff, they're elite. They're elite. You have a couple of head coach guys over there that are head coaches. What they're going to do is they're going to slow the game down. All right. And I think, to pair with their running game, right? They're not going to put JJ McCarthy in there to be the savior, right? They're not going to play out of their identity, I would say, right? So, Corum's going to get about 20 to 25 carries. The other guy, what's the backup running back?
Donovan Edwards.
Donovan Edwards. Thank you. He's going to get about 10 carries, right? They're going to turn it into a Big Ten matchup, right? Because Alabama, they're not a traditional Alabama football team. They have a dual threat quarterback in there that is a run first guy trying to learn to become a pocket passer somewhat, or, trying to figure out his attributes and, fill the game out, I should say. So they're not going to be a traditional, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, Alabama team as well. They don't have horses in their backfield. So they're going to try to, move the ball fast and score the ball fast. I think actually Michigan is going to win, and I think it's going to be a close game. And I'm looking at a 21-17, right?
Think so,
huh?
You think so? You think Michigan's going to win?
I do. I truly do. And I truly do because
Chris already loves you.
I love everyone.
I know. Chris,
If I only loved people that if they were Michigan fans, I wouldn't love any of you.
You're such a good kid, Chris. I ever tell you that? You're just a good kid.
I do have two really great Michigan fans in my life. Chris is one of them, and the other one's Holly at work. I love him dearly.
Barbara Lori.
Oh my God, she's a Pittsburgh and a Michigan fan.
Yeah. So
Jesus, what a contrarian.
I don't know, Jerry. I think Bama's just way too physical, man.
You think so?
Here's the thing I got.
Michigan's physical. I mean, they run the ball. I like how Michigan plays football. You know what I mean? I like Harbaugh's offense. I like how they play. But I just think, you just get down the way Alabama develops people and players, and those guys are they're animals, man. I just think they are going to come in there and I think they're going to beat the living hell out of them.
Their pass rusher, the past couple of years, man. Will Anderson, now Dallas Turner. Whew.
Their front seven, they got some
dogs.
They got some aliens over there. I mean, some athletic. My only concern, Michigan's strength has been the offensive line.
How do you figure the pass rusher is going to affect the game if they don't pass?
Okay, no, that's fair. I mean,
it's getting in the backfield.
Just the front seven in general. I'm talking like Joseph said. Like they've got great linebackers. Now I will say, outside of McKinstry, I don't love their DBs this year. So if you did decide to pass,
what? Yeah, they have a really good.
Alabama's got the best trio. They're like the Browns. They got like the three trio of corners.
I just, I see it out of McKinstry. But maybe I should just say their safeties in general because they haven't been good at
their whole defense from all three levels is elite. I mean, they got guys all over the place. I think where the question
so do we.
Yeah, but they got first rounders out there is a difference, and I think the difference too is the strength for Michigan, like Jerry was saying, has been the offensive line, and they got the best center in the country. Drake Nugent is the best center in the country. Will be a 10-year plus player in the NFL. Who also was a guy who was trained him out of Stanford, who Matt McChesney said was his guy who he trains. Colorado didn't return the call to Drake Nugent, and another school said, I think it was Florida State or somebody said he was too small. And how'd that work out? He's now the best center in the entire country, hands down.
I really hope the Browns. There's actually the guard out of Michigan. What's his name? Is it Brandon Zinn?
Zach Zinner.
Zach
But he's
Zinner.
hurt, and that's my concern is Michigan's health on the offensive line. They got a little banged up. They didn't play that good versus Iowa.
The Browns picked that kid.
That's
That
going to be
guard
the real
was good.
question mark. That's been their strength, is the offensive line. So I'm going to be curious to see if Alabama could take the run away. You're making McCarthy now to throw to Roman Wilson, who's a nice little player, but the other guys are a little
Loveland, baby.
unknowns. I mean, yeah, I like Loveland a lot. He's probably their best weapon outside of Corum, but outside of that, that's gonna be the real question of the game. Because, and the other thing too, if you go back and watch the Penn State game versus Michigan, as bad as Drew Aller was playing quarterback, he had a lot of success running the ball in that game, which kind of hurt Michigan a lot. And this kid here is much more athletic and can really run. Could take off when he gets to the outside. He's fast as hell in that versus Georgia. He burst down the left side of the sideline, took it to the house, I believe. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting though. But I think Jerry's right. Michigan has to play ball control basically.
Yeah.
And it's not going to matter because Washington's going to win it all anyway.
They ain't ready to go to no Rose Bowl and win.
Rose Bowl. They ain't ready to go to no Rose Bowl.
They ain't ready.
I like that little southern drawl you got going there, Chris. I like it. Like a Mississippi dairy farmer, bro. You're just out there milking it. I love it.
They ain't ready.
They ain't ready. Alabama ain't ready.
I'm just saying, it doesn't matter who wins that game because at the end of the day, Washington is running away with it, in my opinion. And also, Michael Penix Jr. was absolutely robbed of the Heisman, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right.
Don't count out Texas, man. I'm telling you.
First off, Texas is going to beat Washington. Second off, Jaden Daniels deserved the Heisman. He had.
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying Penix, with what he's been doing with this Washington offense. I don't know. I thought it could have gone either way.
Penix had it. To be honest with you, I thought Penix was going to win it, but man, and Jaden Daniels had a hell of a year too.
And I'm not discounting it. I'm not saying Jaden Daniels. I shouldn't have said robbed them because Jaden Daniels did have great numbers. I just thought, I don't know. I hoped Penix won it because, it's a Washington quarterback. You know what I mean? When are the Huskies going to be good again? They've been competitive past couple of years.
Texas is going to roll them.
Really?
Yes.
Texas has got a lot of speed all over.
I second that too. By the way. Texas is going to destroy them. I honestly believe that.
Just different type of football. They just play a different type of football, just like the same thing with Alabama and Georgia. They just play, and I hate to say this because we're in Ohio, we're Big Ten. They just play a different brand of football. They just play more physical.
I think Texas is, too fast for Washington.
Texas is, I think Texas is gonna pound the shit out of them.
Well, if that's what happens, I hope Braylon Trice has an awful game so his draft stock falls incredibly to the second round, right around like 55, 56. Because he would look great in brown and orange. But I don't know, man. Penix has some great weapons. I know Texas does too. I love that add-a-name Mitchell kid they got out there at Texas. I do think Rome.
I like Washington's weapons.
Rome Odunze is a dog.
Running back and that offensive line. The offensive line and the running back are really good. But their defense is a little suspect in the back end. The front set, they're pretty good on both sides and on the line. But I just don't think they have the speed to keep up with Texas. And Quinn Ewers is playing out of his mind.
Right. He is. Oh, here's an interesting question for the room while we're on the topic of college. So everybody knows Marvin Harrison's going to be the first receiver taken and is the best receiver in college football.
Don't assume. These guys are getting first round money thrown at him to come back. They're talking about him getting $15 to $20 million to play at Iowa State next year.
Yeah, he's staying. FYI, he's staying. If you guys know that, right?
Yeah.
Well, if he stays, I'm assuming that he comes out. With the assumption that he comes out. Who do you guys think is the next best receiver? Because I think this is a hugely, and me and Joseph were just talking about this, how loaded of a wide receiver class this really is. There are guys everywhere. You think it's Malik Neighbors? I think that's a fair pick.
100%.
But I think there's an argument to be made about Rome
better
Odunze.
numbers than Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, I think that's a fair pick. I think Rome Odunze is a fair pick. Keon Coleman. I mean, there's just guys everywhere this year, man. Like, I mean, even the second and third round guys. I mean, I think Roman Wilson, even though he's a later round pick, I think he's going to be a good player in the NFL. Then you got Adonai Mitchell, Troy Franklin out of Oregon. I mean, they're just guys everywhere. Xavier Worthy. I mean, geez, it's crazy.
I like Rome Odunze a lot. I think he's
I like him a lot.
He's a really crisp route runner. He can run a lot of the routes. Tough kid too. I mean, and I like Neighbors too. I mean, obviously there's more, but I don't know. All I know is Friday what I heard. It is a real consideration that they're all coming back. Not just him, but Emeka's coming back. Trayvon's definitely coming back. That's why Chip left. Shout out to Chip, hoping alone. But I mean, the writing's on the wall there for everybody to see. But I don't know.
Hey, maybe they could be fifth-year seniors if they don't beat Michigan again, just to do it again, huh?
No. Well, here, if I was
we're gonna run
better
it back.
quarterback play
We're
this
gonna
year,
run it back.
well, I mean,
keep running it, baby. Keep running.
How much? Well, you need to go win a national championship first. But how many?
All right, Chris. You guys ain't, like I said, you haven't won anything yet.
How many more yards and receptions and touchdowns would Marvin Harrison have had this year had he not had Honda McCord thrown on the ball?
Right.
Because he kind of, even like a guy like Emeka didn't elevate this year like he was supposed to. And that, I mean, the wide receivers didn't play great this year. I don't think so. I mean, Marvin obviously is Marv, but I just don't think the rest of that room elevated like they were supposed to. I think Cardinal Tate's a true freshman who's going to be the guy next year. That's why Fleming left, because Tate's better. But I don't know. They need better quarterback play, and I think if Devin Brown could be the guy, or if there's somebody else out there they know is coming in, maybe who they're bringing on NIL.
Well,
I mean,
they got Aaron Nolan coming.
Ward.
What's that?
They have Aaron. Yeah.
Who's saying Cam Ward?
Everyone I ever read, everything I ever read says Cam Ward's transferring to Ohio State.
I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but
then you're hearing Arch Manning, which I think is hard to believe, but here's what I think is happening. If these guys come back and get this kind of money, what does this do to football? I mean, this has never happened. You now have guys that are being paid like big-time free agents in college football. You know what I mean? This changes everything, and I don't know. Does the NFL like it better because the guys get developed?
I don't think it's good for quarterback play.
No, yeah.
Or does the NFL want them up there?
This many quarterbacks in the transfer portal is not good for the long term of NFL quarterback play, which has declined.
Oh man, Prescott, man, that was nasty.
Yeah, but because these guys are learning systems, they're learning too many systems in college. When they get to the NFL, that's why they have to restart again. They don't know, they're not developing in the NFL. This many quarterbacks in the transfer portal is a problem, which is why I think Devin Brown. If Devin Brown plays well in this Cotton Bowl, you got to roll with him because he's been in the system for 2 years now. That's much more of a better fit.
What I'm going to is it's kind of like what the Yankees and the Dodgers do is at the start of that. Like the biggest schools that got the most NIL money, you're just never, ever going to be able to compete with them. You know what I mean? This is going to change everything. If you start giving guys, college players, $15 million, $10 million, $12 million a year, that's going to be crazy. It's going to change college football as we know it.
I still don't think, and I'm not saying that because I obviously don't care if he does come back or not. But I just don't understand why he would come back, Marvin Harrison, at least. I do think Emeka should. But I just don't understand. I mean, you're going to get 15 to 20 million, but you could still ruin your career and miss out on the dream you have and to play professional football. And he's never going to elevate his draft stock more than it already is now. I mean,
I don't think it's
he's
really
a
about
top three. 3
I don't
pick.
think it's about the
No.
draft stock or the money. I think it's more about remember his dad.
Accolades.
No, I
What
understand.
here's a key theme though. I think people are maybe realizing is remember Caleb Williams' father. What did he say 2-3 months ago? If we don't like the team that at the top that he's going to be projected to go to, we have enough NIL money. We'll just come back and wait until next year when it's a better team up there we like going to.
I
I
understand.
think
though.
Marvin Harris. If I'm Marvin Harris, I mean Marvin Harrison Sr. is probably looking at that board going Arizona with Kyler Murray.
But that board's going to be bad next year too.
Chicago Bears
because bad teams pick in the top 5. It just is
Yeah,
what
but I
it
mean,
is.
these three. I mean, the Patriots and the Bears. You want to talk about a worse situation for a receiver to go to, especially a rookie.
Why? You mean
Not
you
good.
think? I think Marvin Harrison to the Bears would instantly bring that offense to something really special, dude. I mean, you put Marvin Harrison next to DJ Moore with Justin Fields. I think that, and Cole Kmet, I think that offense is really good.
Yeah, but the Bears, and I don't like saying this because the Bears was my second favorite team. My favorite player played there, Walter Payton. I don't think they're a very good run organization. And I think a guy like Marvin Harrison Sr. knows that. You know what I mean?
Not great with quarterbacks either.
They just have never here. They had the defense and they had the 85 Bears. Other than that, the Bears have done nothing. I mean, nothing since the old days. I mean, they've just been a lousy organization, inconsistent. And they had a couple. They had that one year they got super when Urlacher was there, but I just got to look at from being his dad and what his dad knows, the ins and outs of every front office. He's got to be telling him, hey, stay away from there, stay away from there, stay away from there. And you got to remember, a lot of these guys come out so soon because they have to. They can't wait to get that money.
Mm-hmm.
This dude's he's grown up wealthy. You know what I mean? And he may be playing for a legacy. It might be important to him that I've never beat Michigan. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure it is.
I've
but
always
even if
lost
he
to
comes back,
Michigan.
it's not a guarantee he does anyways.
He might want it. Well, yeah, but he's still coming back to do so. But
all I'm saying is, all he can do by staying in college another year is hurt his NFL stock.
Well, it might not just be all about that, though. That's what I'm saying.
There's nothing he can do to help it in college anymore.
I know that, but what I'm trying to tell you is I don't believe this might be one of those rarities where that's not the end all be all with him.
No, I agree.
It might be he wants every accolade at every level, and he may not want to leave Ohio State and say, "Man, I never beat them."
But he's not guaranteed to do it next year either.
Chris, they were a marginal quarterback away.
No. I
from beating Michigan. You know what I mean?
I have said this is our year. I have said that for all year that next year is not looking good for Michigan. I've said it. So I'm not saying that, but it's still not a guarantee.
No, what I'm saying is if we had just a quarterback that was considered marginal, we win that game. We just got a lousy quarterback, dude.
Dude, again, Kyle McCord played pretty good. I mean, he threw his pick.
Kyle McCord is garbage.
He still played good.
No, he did not.
Oh, he had good numbers. Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
He had the play that cost them. He cost them in the game.
I agree, but he still didn't do.
He's a below average quarterback. He's been below average all year, but because they're not able to. Ryan Day's not able to run the offense he wants to run with Kyle McCord. He's not. That's why they ran a lot of vanilla crap this year. That was just not. You know what I mean? Jerry, you mentioned you think he's definitely coming back. What's your take on all this with Marvin?
Yeah, and the piggyback off of Joe, it's all about legacy for Maserati, right? Like, Chris, honestly, I don't think coming back. I think Marvin knows his stock is not going to hurt regardless, right? Whether he comes out this year or next year, he's going to be a top 5 pick.
Unless he blows his ACL.
Yeah, and even then, right? Unfortunately, I strongly believe even after that, he would still be a top 5, top 10 pick, right? I mean, we're talking maybe a couple $1 million that from a third, maybe a second and third pick to maybe a eighth or ninth pick. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's not worried about a couple $1 million,
I don't think
right?
it's
So
money. Yeah. Oh.
I think his take on it is whether I stay or come back, right? Like his stock is the draft itself. I'm sure he's not thinking that, oh well, is it gonna hurt my money? No. Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing is, like Joe said, he has an opportunity to be a trailblazer, right? To change college football as we see it, as far as, changing the narrative of the college athlete, right? Getting this, crazy money as a college athlete and being a trailblazer and doing so and opening the doors for another college athlete behind him. That is legacy, right? And then on top of it, it does matter that he's 0-3 against Michigan, right? It does matter. It just does, because it's a part of not only the Buckeye tradition, but his accolades that we can assume he would probably rack up in some way, shape, or form that he's looking to achieve at the next level, right? Because he's he's the second, right? Marv, his dad is the consummate Hall of Famer, right? And obviously, in following those footsteps, you as a young player, an elite player, a player that yearns for hunger, right? He's never yearned for the money, right? So there's a different motivation behind his drive, his desire, his zeal to become, the elite of the elites, right? He's already blessed with better height, better speed, better, understanding, honestly, probably better catching ability or similar, but maybe better, right? Like he's a better prospect than his dad coming out of college.
I heard his younger brother is actually better than him.
Jet Harrison.
Yeah.
He's
that dude's the truth.
he's elite too.
You make a great point too, because he was asked this at the Heisman ceremony the other night. I saw they're like, "Do you feel like you have bragging rights over your dad yet?" And he goes, "No, not yet, not yet." He goes, "He didn't feel like he has bragging rights." But Jerry, I got to ask you though, piggybacking off that point, because you played in college at Ohio University, and I actually listened to a guy. What year did you play at Ohio University, Jerry?
So I got there in the fall of 2013.
Did you? Okay, so you might have played against this guy, Darnell Smith at Ball State. He was a defensive tackle. He's actually on he's a co-host now over on Coach JB's show. It's a big YouTube show on YouTube, football guy.
I was telling him all about Coach JB last night.
Yeah,
he
might. I think he played against Smitty at Ball State.
Yeah,
But, guys that like Ball State, and that there's Jason Willock, who went to Ball State. You played at Ohio. You guys in the MAC. I don't know if you remember, like my dad was saying about, could we be seeing like this thing now where these bigger universities are becoming basically like the farm systems, where they can even take. I remember a guy like Carson Steele, who went to UCLA this year, who was at Ball State, was a really good running back his first 2 years and played well at UCLA, but UCLA had more money, was able to steal him away from Ball State. What do you think? Is it healthy enough for the overall landscape of college football, like for guys in the MAC, like who you played in, versus the guys getting the bigger money from the bigger universities? Do you think it's a healthy landscape with the NIL money going around like that?
Honestly, I do, right? Because it creates a what's the attitude I want to say? It creates an attitude, whereas you have a chip on your shoulder, right? Like, as an athlete, when you want to be, you kind of don't really try to become, second best athlete, or you don't try to become, you don't try to play. You never go out to play at the lowest level, right? Or a lower level, or, you never try to go out to not play at the highest level. So when you get essentially passed over, or you're in a different position than you kind of wanted to be in from, a college player perspective, right? It says, to yourself, hey, they told me I couldn't play with them. So what do? It creates better competition, right? It creates a better athlete. Like, they always talk about guys that, come from smaller schools that play in the NFL. Well, there's a reason, right? Like the development of the player is different. It all depends on like where you're from, like the environment that you come from, right? Like I played in high school with a guy who plays for the Lions, right? And essentially, He plays for the Detroit Lions, and he was our actual high school quarterback.
Yeah,
And he plays
Kaminsky.
defensive tackle in for the Lions, John Kaminsky, right?
Yeah.
And he was, 6'4", I think 215 in high school.
Yeah.
And he ended up going to Charleston University at a D2 in West Virginia, not on a scholarship actually. And over the course of 5 years, he turns his body into 6'5", 285. He's got crazy combine numbers, and got an invite to the Senior Bowl, and from there, kind of wrote his ticket. Right, it creates an environment where it's competition, and it allows them to become better men. It allows them to face different what's the word? Adversity. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
And all these different obstacles that you probably don't see from the outside looking in, because it changes your whole perspective, your whole persona, the whole collegiate realm itself. I think it's great. I think it's great on many levels.
I was curious your thoughts on that, because I've heard a lot of guys like that played in the MAC and stuff that were more, when I mean healthy, more about does it put those schools at a disadvantage? The Ohio Universities, the Ball States, the Akron U's, with all this money going around. But I think you make a great point, though. I think it does elevate more competition. And ultimately, if you want it, you got to work hard. You got to go get it. And you make a great point, too. There's many guys from our buddy Xavier Gray, who played at Akron the last 3 years, transferred to Liberty this year, made a smart decision there. The 5th-rated tackle, I believe, in all of college football at Liberty, undefeated Liberty, going to play Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. Probably going to be a draft pick next, probably 2025, Dad, I think.
Yeah, he's got 1 more year eligibility.
But will be an NFL draft pick, and might have he keeps elevating his draft stock too, more and more. So, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, Dad.
Yeah, and honestly, I think from a money standpoint, the reality is that the big schools look after the little schools, right? Because you kind of have to. That's just the nature of the landscape, right? So the money situation from a university perspective is never going to be an issue. It almost creates the ability for the underdog to just be that much greater, honestly. Especially in those big time games and all those things, right? Like the money situation is never gonna deter the university, that's for sure.
So you don't think it's gonna affect the competitive standpoint of like the school, like the MAC or non-Power 5 schools?
No, because the way the system is set up now for the athlete to transfer wherever, you're always going to have slippage and overage, right? All those kids are, the ones that were at a university that didn't get a chance to play. They got to be housed somewhere. So essentially, those schools will get, if they do it correctly, which they're starting to understand how and why, it should work out. It should balance for sure.
What do you think of another one of our debates real quick? Well, I'll get to the last topic. We'll close up. But Jerry, I'm curious your thoughts. What's your overall take of Ryan Day right now in this Ohio State program? Obviously losing 3 years in a row to Michigan. Last year, missed field goal away from beating Georgia. A lot of people question whether the program is what it used to be, like urban, a lot more tougher, I guess you could say. I don't know another word to use, but I guess what's your overall take on or analysis on Ryan Day and the program?
Yep, I think Ryan Day is stressed. To be honest with you, I think he understands that his ability to develop is subpar. And what I mean is, like, for instance, Joe, and I'm gonna come back to you with the Michigan game this year, right? Unfortunately, Lathan Ransom, our starting safety, was out, right? And we had a guy, Sonny Styles, in playing safety, but he also plays linebacker, the bullet position, strong safety, all those things, right? And he was our starting safety. And the play I'm gonna reference is the play right after Zach Minter, when Blake Corum scored, right after Zach Minter got hurt. So I think it was the inside zone. which this is why I love, the Michigan coaching. They run traditional, pull guys and, feed the running backs in. And that's why, obviously the run game is second to none. However, if you notice, Sonny Styles had an opportunity to bring Blake Corum down, right in the hole. It was a decent hole, but I mean, it wasn't big enough to, fit 2 Mack trucks through it or anything like that. But it was good enough for him to get loose. However, Sonny Styles had an opportunity to make the play in the hole and actually probably make it a minimal gain, if any, right? And Blake Corum obviously, makes a hop step and skips past Sonny Styles. Sonny Styles misses him and he scores, and Blake Corum throws up to 6-5 in the end zone. However, if Sonny Styles was prepared to play in that game in that position, honestly, Blake Corum probably wouldn't have scored. They probably would have kicked a field goal, and momentum could have potentially shifted, and therefore Kyle McCourt wouldn't have had to been the savior in that last final drive in order for us to believe behind the McCourt to come back and win us the game. And the point is that I think Ryan Day has to do a better job of putting his guys, his younger guys, who are not yet prepared and ready from an understanding of a football player standpoint. He has to put his guys in position in order to develop over the course of a season, right? Because even though Kyle McCord wasn't the best, right? And obviously you could tell from a lot of games where he was missing guys wide open,
skipping reads.
Yep, yeah. Exactly. Missing reads, all the above, right? Not going through this progression, right? A lot of it was, his growth, right? He didn't have a lot of opportunity to grow because honestly, we didn't have time for him to. And the reality is, and over the course of the last, 2 years he was there outside of this year, right? And I know he played, 1 game, but he had an opportunity to be behind prolific passers. Well, one major prolific passer, but another, NFL quarterback that, he's not a pocket passer, but, he can get the job done. But he's had an opportunity to grow at a high level. And honestly, when you're a guy in that position, you're in a blessed position because you have all the time to learn. And you have all the time to be taught. And Ryan Day, what he needs to do is he gets guys in there that can already play, but the guys that he doesn't get, because he can't recruit like, I'll say an Urban Meyer or a Jim Tressel, right? He just can't. He has to be able to develop players. And I think he knows that. I think he's trying to do a better job of getting better players as far as, guys that can come in and play right now. Because he knows they have from that standpoint, outside of receivers, right? We have the best receiving room in the country. I mean, hands down. I mean, we got guys that, probably could come in after a year and play in the NFL. I mean, those guys
with Jeremiah Smith coming in.
Oh yeah. I mean, we have elite talent. So from that standpoint and from the defensive line standpoint, I mean, I would say the defensive line standpoint, I mean, they're the biggest, they're the best in terms of, coaching. They're the best guys that are, growing at a high rate. But, the number one thing is that college football is based on quarterback play. It's based on quarterback play.
You made a great point, too. I remember the other play, and remember the Malik Hartford play in that game where JJ threw that pass, and Malik Hartford hadn't played all year, and he's putting a critical point in that game. That was a big play where JJ threaded that needle like that, but really the ball should have been picked off. And
that was Malik an absolute dot.
And Malik Hartford was out of place, young guy, didn't look prepared. And we've seen, I think you make a great point because we've seen that. I think, too, last quick on a point on Ohio State, Jerry, I want to ask you, since you played D-line, I think Tyleik Williams and Mike Hall are great in the interior. Obviously, you have 2 freaks on the outside, JTT and Jack, but they weren't able really to generate a whole lot of sacks this year. And I'm curious, I think more Jim Knowles' scheme. Jim Knowles has even said that's not really a priority to him. I tend to think you probably need to want to rush the passer more, want to generate more sacks because they didn't really generate a whole lot this year, which is kind of, not common at Ohio State. So I'm just curious your thought on the D-line play as a whole this year in that aspect there of not being able to generate a whole lot of those sacks.
Yeah, I think from the Jim Knowles scheme, I think his understanding is responsibility, right? From a traditional sense, Ohio State, relies on pressure, relies on the pass rush. And I think Jim Knowles was creative in knowing he did very well. He did a lot of blitzing with our backers, right? He did, or even creative in the bullet position, in the cornerback position, in the safety position, right? He was very creative in understanding. We played a lot of zone, of course, but he was very creative getting a rush from the other positions. And I think with, well, I'm not going to say the guys are not elite because that wouldn't be right. I would say they're not as elite as in the past. Outside of JTT, they're not as, first round, Joey Bosa, Nicky Bosa.
And I wonder if JTT really reached his ceiling like he should have, to be honest with you. I thought Jack might have had actually more all around year.
Yeah, I definitely believe so. And I think that was mainly the scheme, right? Because, I mean, it's all about in his scheme, which I do love based on the guys that we had coming back and based on the guys that we had in this, on the team, as far as from the defense as a whole. I loved his scheme because, it could bleed, but as long as, it didn't die, everything was okay. What I mean was, as far as us giving up the big play, I think we gave up one play of 40 yards or more on the season. I think
not a whole lot.
Yeah. And he made adjustment as far as, for as far as from a zone standpoint, he actually, I think he dropped one of the safeties most of the time. And obviously our front seven was seasoned guys. So he was able to be, consistent and sound with the front seven, but he was also able to get creative, once they understood the scheme. And a lot of that, let's say, I'll put it in reference to this, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with Florida State and a guy named Jared Verse. Are you guys familiar with him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's a dog.
A monster, absolute monster.
No, he's not a dog. They only have one player, and it's Jordan Travis, and everybody else sucks. Come on now, Jerry.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put it in perspective like this. He last year his stats were drastically better than this year. However, he'll even tell you that this year, even though his production was, cut in half or, 3/4, as a football player, I mean, he made tremendous strides because it wasn't just, seeing the ball and getting the ball, right? It was more so understanding, schemes, gap integrity, and actually being performing as a teammate and trusting your teammates. And I think a lot of, the defensive line for Ohio State was dependent on that, right? Everybody has a job and everybody was associated in doing that job. And they weren't, me style players or even with the elite play, right? Like they didn't, have that, but they were very, very sound and very disciplined in understanding, hey, as long as I do my job, we'll get the stop, or as long as I do my job, we'll be able to, hold guys, right? We're not, even though, most of the year they shut down pretty much everyone, right? Even when they didn't in these last few games, right? It still gave the offense and the team position to win, no matter how bad they're playing. Or one more time.
It was, I agree. It's the offense just didn't play complimentary a whole lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was curious because I mean that's something I was wondering all year, and I've heard on other shows. Just because you obviously you want to get to the quarterback as much as you can, but I totally agree with you. I that definitely is his scheme. Play more sound, more gap assignments, more kind of just keeping the ball in front of you, more simplified, which I think they needed compared to what Kerry Coombs and Greg Schiano was trying to run before those guys, or before Jim Knowles came. But I think too, a lot of what you're seeing, I think a point you made about Ryan trying to get older guys in there, I think you're definitely seeing that. I think a lot of these transfer portal, a lot of these young guys really, I think is, from what I heard, it's just more of a cleansing going on internally and just trying to get more veteran guys in there, win now, especially if you're bringing all these guys back, you have to win now. So, and I think recruiting wise, they're still top 3 to 5 somewhere in there. They got a nice class coming in. So, but yeah, but before we get out of here, I gotta pull up the last 4 games here. Mike, I'll start with you. Where do you think the Browns go these last 4 games, Mike? We got Chicago next week at home, at Houston,
Thursday night at home, and then Bengals, right?
Yeah, Thursday night versus the Jets, and then the Kentucky Bungles on the road in Kentucky.
You know, depending on how long Stroud's out, that Texans game might not be as threatening anymore. I don't see a reason why we can't run the table. I mean, Chicago at home. Our team is now 6-1 at home, and the only loss was the DTR starting with 30 minutes of prep to the Ravens. So I don't see why we don't run the board. Like, I know since he's playing well, but I mean, we've had their number. Joe Burrow's only beat us once. I don't care if it's Joe Burrow, Jake Browning, or the ghost of Carson Palmer back there.
For them in Cincinnati.
Ghost of Carson Palmer.
Yeah, like I don't care who's quarterbacking for them. That the Bengals are just the Bengals. We got their number, so I don't see why we couldn't end the season 12-5.
So you're predicting 12-5?
I think still realistically 11-6, but I don't see why we couldn't run the board. So the homer in me wants to say 12-5, but the realist in me says that we probably drop 1 game, but I don't think we. I wouldn't be surprised if we run the board. So I'm going to say 12-5. I'm going to say 12.
Dad, what do you think?
Well, what happened to Stroud? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he's got a pretty bad concussion. He got like carted into the locker room, carted for a concussion, like the Tua Tagovailoa kind of concussion where he was throwing up like gang signs.
Oh, okay. That would still be I think they beat Chicago at home. Jets at home, but on the road against the Bengals. I would still the Houston game's the only one I'm concerned about. Given everyone, we don't get any unhealthier. You know what I mean? I said that last week. We're just so beat the hell up. I mean, as long as we can maintain what we have now, I think, and I wouldn't be shocked if we ran the table. But I'm probably looking more like 3-1. The Houston game's the one that still got me kind of concerned. Just on the road, Houston's been a decent team this year. And 2 weeks, there's a good chance Stroud will be back. So I could see 11-6.
What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, as I've said, I wouldn't be shocked if they went 3-1 in the next 4, but then I wouldn't be shocked if they went 1-3 in the next 4. I mean, I know I've been telling you guys this for the last couple weeks, but don't sleep on Chicago, man. They went out and actually traded during the trade deadline for an edge rusher, and he is just wrecking havoc. Their defense is playing well, and like I said, their offense is they're humming. So don't be shocked about that, Chicago. But I will say that they beat Chicago, but it'll be closer than what most people think. Houston, with CJ Stroud, I think that but then again, I mean, Tank Dell out for the year, and I know Nico Collins went out early in that game today, so they're losing a lot of their play.
Damian Pierce is hurt too, apparently.
Outside, they're losing a lot of the receivers, so who knows? The Jets, what Jets are you going to get? Who knows? And the Bengals, I mean. Here they're 7-6, and Jake Browning has thrown for over 300 the last 2 games. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, what in the world? I mean, I
think I wouldn't be surprised he comes back down to earth. I mean, they got to play the Chiefs coming up too on the road in Kansas City, and Kansas City needs to win badly.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this: Kansas City is not elite. Kansas City is very, very beatable. I mean, I think that if you're looking for 100% the favorite in the AFC. You're either Miami or Baltimore, and that's really. And then
And I don't
there's
think
the
those
rest.
two are like elite teams either.
Oh, I do.
I don't think Baltimore. I mean, what I consider elite. I don't think there's like one like definitive like that team is, man, they're elite. Like,
I mean, Miami's good against they run the ball well. They're obviously
their offense is
great.
ridiculous.
Their offense is great. They have Ramsey as their number one guy. I mean, they have a good defense. Miami looks the part, and if they can get home field advantage, I definitely like that. I don't think that them coming to Cleveland or going to Buffalo or anything like that will help them. But I think
Miami's got one guy on the outside that nobody else has, and that's Mr. Hill.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then they have the other guy that no one else has, Waddle.
Yeah, I mean, but
And then
Tyreek Hill there's no answer for Tyreek Hill.
And then they got Etienne, who 4.3 speed. I mean, it's just speed everywhere, and good luck. But again, I mean, you wouldn't be surprised if they went 3-1. You wouldn't be surprised, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if they went 1-3. I mean, it's Cleveland, it's Detroit. It's just the world we live in.
It's Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Jerry, what do you think about the down the stretch of the last 4 games, and what do you think? What do you see happening here?
I think 3-1 in the last stretch and finalizing at 11-6. And honestly, the team that I'm looking at and circling the most is the Jets. And the reason why I say that is I think they're the most similar team to us as far as like their defensive based. Obviously from their inconsistency at quarterback, unfortunately. And I honestly think they match up with us in that way, right? They have a great defensive line, guys that can move, and obviously their secondary is legit as well. And I think on how we play currently, or how we're playing currently offensively, since we're not a dominant rush team right now, we're not running the ball very well. I think from a it actually hurts us now that we're in this position. I think, honestly, I don't think we'll have any issue with Chicago or Houston. Honestly, I think Cincinnati is going to be close. We'll get them. But I think New York, I know we get 2 different types of Jets teams, but I think just because they're similar.
Look good today.
So, one more time.
The quarterback, the Manhattan MILF Hunter, he looked good today.
Oh man,
He did.
He looked good today.
Yeah, he did. Surprisingly enough, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I mean, he's a pro. I'll say he's a pro. It's just, man.
He's just all over the place sometimes. But
for sure,
I agree that they got dudes on defense. Their defense is legit. I mean, it's probably top 3 to 5 in the whole league for sure. I mean, you got Sauce, you got who's the dude in the middle? Quentin Williams. I mean, they got guys all over. It's a shame what happened to Rodgers, because I think that might have been the team that would have been the number 1 team in the AFC right now, to be honest with you.
For sure.
And they still got weapons on Breece Hall. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Randall Cobb, who scored a touchdown, a veteran. I mean, they got dudes out there.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's what I said. I think that's the biggest game for us. From that standpoint, as far as like a similar team, and they got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally. But all right. Well, I ask you real quick, Jerry, who's the best matchup for the Browns in the playoffs? We all think they're going to get in probably. Who do you think would be the best first game for them? Probably, I think they would play Jacksonville again, I would think. Jacksonville wins out.
Honestly, I love us against Jacksonville. I don't know what it is, but I think we have their number. I really do. I think I don't know what our career record is against them, but I think we're plus, aren't we?
Kevin Stefanski 3-0 against them. If you're just talking about his tenure.
Yeah. I like. I mean, that's a great matchup. As far as getting our feet wet. But not only that, I think we match up against them well. I think we have their number, so I think that would probably be the best game to want.
How far do you think the Browns can go?
Depending on how healthy we are. As long as we're healthy fully on defense, I'd say we can get to the AFC Championship game. I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, if you get out of that first round, I mean, you got to go through the Baltimore Ravens or the Miami Dolphins, which either of those teams is going to be a tough game. But
I would say I don't want to play Baltimore.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
I tend
for
to
sure.
agree with you because Baltimore will match the physicality. It will.
Yeah.
They got their defense is really good, obviously, but yeah, I agree. It's gonna be interesting because I don't think Kansas City is that good this year. I think just the lack of receivers. You're seeing that you bracket Tyreek or double Travis Kelce, bracket him, and you're making Mahomes throw the Rasheed Rice and who's an unknown. He's a rookie. Another Valquez Scantling who can't catch the ball a whole lot this year for some reason. There's a lot of inconsistencies there, and Kansas City hasn't really been able to run the ball well. For some, Isaac Pacheco, I think, was a great pick, but outside of him, he didn't play today. And they kind of missed him in a way. You know what I mean? They can't. They're so one dimensional.
Yeah. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not a, he's not a between the tackles guy. So they have really scat backs after that. Jerick
Right, they don't have
McKinnon
a
stuff.
legit horse. Yeah.
Yeah. So that pairing that with no receivers, or young receivers, at this point, that's a bad combination.
Yeah. Totally agree. Well, Jerry, I appreciate you coming on, man. And you're welcome to come back anytime. We'll hopefully get Jeremy on here with you next week, and that'll be a lot of fun. But
Jeremy's
appreciate you
tired
coming
from
on.
dancing last night.
Yeah, I saw that. Jeremy,
man,
everybody a good time last night.
Yeah.
I saw the videos. It was something else. But yeah, Jerry, where can people find you? Just on Facebook or
Yes,
Instagram?
I'm on Facebook. Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody go give Jerry a friend request and definitely
And
see you
I'm
back
on
on the show
IG
here.
too, but I don't really, get on there too much. But I'm on Instagram as well. But
all right. Oh, sorry, I cut out there for a minute. What were you saying? Sorry, my internet.
no,
again.
I'll say I'm on Instagram as well. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Well, appreciate you coming on, my man, and we'll come back anytime.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it for sure. I appreciate it.
Appreciate your
Thanks,
analysis too. So,
for sure. Thank you guys.
thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Well, Chris, who do the Lions play next week, Chris?
Denver on Saturday.
You think they bounce back and get a dub?
I sure hope. If we keep giving away the football, football. It's so tough, but at the same time, it's just so easy. You take care of the football. You control the clock. You're going to win more games than you lose. But obviously, easier said than done. But man, we've just been giving away the football way too much. We gave it away 3 more times today. It's just, you're going to lose. You're going to lose in the NFL, especially if you give the ball away and don't take it away.
Yeah, it's interesting where they stack up in the NFC, because I think right now you'd say the 49ers, and the way Dallas looks tonight, they're probably the second. I think that's probably the top 2. What do you think you guys stack up in the NFC? I think you guys might have an argument now. As bad as the Phillies look the last 2 weeks.
The beginning of the year, everyone would just tell you, oh man, the AFC's loaded and NFC sucks and this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other. And to be honest with you, I think it's probably the opposite at this point.
The NFC has a lot more balanced teams.
I think that the AFC is way more wide open than the NFC is. I probably think the 2 best teams in the NFL right now are Dallas and San Francisco, and They obviously both reside in the NFC. But and even Philly, I mean, I think we stack behind them three. But I mean, again, I also think if we take care of the football and we play a our best, I think that we could beat any of them too. It just is what it is, and I don't know. The NFL lately, it's just it's a lot more any given Sunday than it's ever been, I think. And I mean, there is literally, I think, 7 teams that are 7-6 in the AFC, and I mean, 3 more that are 8-6 or 8-5. Sorry, and I mean, who knows what happens next? I mean, these last 4 games are going to be ones to. I mean, the whole AFC picture now could look completely different 4 games from now. I mean, does anyone want to play the Bills? I don't think anyone right now wants to play the Bills, but again, and they're like the 10th seed right now in the AFC. So we'll see what happens. But I think that we should win our division. But again, Minnesota now is 2 games behind us, and we still play Minnesota twice. So it could.
Damn, they didn't play them at all this year?
Nope. We play them. We play Denver, and then at home, and then we go to Minnesota, and then we play Dallas at Dallas, and then we play Minnesota at Minnesota. So, yeah, I mean,
this Dallas team is. Are you watching this Dallas game, Chris?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This Dallas team is. Every time these last few weeks I've watched Dallas, man, they are just. They look like a complete football team.
Yep, they do look good, but
I really like the 49ers right now.
They've always been an accident waiting to happen, and I agree. I think the San Francisco 49ers are the
49ers with Chase Young and Boza. I mean, my gosh, going out and getting Chase Young like that, what he's done
Trent
for
Williams.
They were
great. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle,
Samuel.
They are unbelievably talented.
Yeah, they're certainly the favorites, but Dallas has certainly got a lot better too.
Oh yeah, and their defense somehow, some way is tough. How doesn't their defensive coordinator have a job? I mean, I know he lost after winning leading 28-3 in the Super Bowl, but still, he should have a job by now, a head coaching job at least.
Who are you talking about?
Their D coordinator. I can't even think of his name right now, but he used to be the Falcons head coach. Why can't I think of his name?
Dan Quinn?
Yeah, Dan Quinn. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't tell Corey that. Oh yeah, by the way, Dan said
Corey, who's
it's not in this broadcast. Well, we got to remind Corey who's number 1.
Yep, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, baby. They're in a 3-way tie. Them, the Saints, and the Falcons are in a 3. But the Bucs, Saints, and Falcons are 3-way tie at 6 and 7 currently in the NFC South. I mean, here the loser or the second place finisher in the NFC the NFC East, either Dallas or Philly. At least they're going to win their first round matchup because they get to go to the winner of that terrible division who shouldn't even be in the playoffs and smoke them. So it'll be fun to watch.
Fire those cannons.
All I gotta say is don't let Baker Mayfield go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and make it further than the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs. Don't let it happen.
Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. I don't
don't think anybody's missing his ass. No matter what happens. Good grief.
Tampa Bay will still be looking for a new quarterback this offseason.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So
it's just the Browns thing to do.
Yeah.
Let that guy go, and he goes and makes the playoffs and has a deeper run.
Well, it is his 3rd stop, though, since he's left. So, technically, he wasn't our last quarterback.
No, I get it. But again, I mean, it happened with us. We gave Stafford, we traded Stafford away, and he went and won a Super Bowl that year. I was happy.
Well, no, and here, this. If Deshaun doesn't get hurt, I mean, they were coming off that Ravens game. Who knows? They might be number 1 in the whole AFC right now. The way he was
Here-
looking that second half. You
here
know
you
what I mean?
go.
Beating the Ravens like that.
Dallas, the accident waiting to
never-
happen. Dallas Cowboys.
If they blow this game, all the nice things we just said about them just completely went out the window if they lose this game. But how's that parlay looking, Chris, before we get out of here?
Yeah. Like my other ones today.
Yeah.
Bad.
Bad. Bad. Oh, man.
But there's always tomorrow, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Baby.
So lots of football to be played.
Yep. Exactly. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a shootout, so I had Dak and Hurts throwing for over 2.5 touchdowns each, and then throwing the ball more than 39 times each. So I guess I still have a chance.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on like always, and getting closer and closer to that game right there on New Year's Day. So
listen to this. In the Fantasy Fred Martin League, I will go first off. I've scored the most points and stuff like that, and of course I've done the Chris collapse in that league somehow, some way. Every year I just somehow just collapse at the end.
Yeah.
And after just being the number one seed consistently the whole time, I have slipped in the last 2 weeks, and now it's so log jammed to get in the playoffs that the way it's looking right now, if I lose, I'm out, and if I win, I can get a bye. Now, I have the most points in the league, and I have Justin Herbert as my quarterback, and he breaks his finger in the first quarter of today's game, is out for the game with 1 point. So it's not looking good for me, and somehow most points in the league could just not even make the playoffs after being number one all year.
God. So it's like the AFC.
Yep.
Yeah, our team got all injured up, but I still managed to get us into the playoffs. We got a shot to win it, but man, our team, we're all banged up. Our starting quarterback, running back, everybody went down.
Yeah. Everybody's going down. Injuries.
It takes so much luck, though. Fantasy's just all luck. Like, people think there's actual skill to like winning it. I'm like, it's really just kind of knowing who's who and just luck.
Yeah. There's some strategy, but it is. I mean, you got to stay healthy. You got to avoid the injury bug, and you got to hit at the right time. Good news is I'm in 4 leagues, so even if I miss the playoffs in this one, I'm already in 3.
He said Justin Herbert got gurged.
He sure did. He won't be the last.
Well, by the way, the Pistons gonna win a game finally?
I think they're waiting for the Lions to win one. Yeah, no, of course I've seen it, Joe.
The Pistons haven't won a game in 2 months.
A month and a half, easy.
But still, I mean, they should be a lot better. I mean,
I know.
I heard
they were
from
2-1,
somebody though
and
that follows the Pistons at Dwayne Casey, but he's not connected well with these young guys.
Well, Dwayne Casey isn't their coach anymore.
No, who's their coach now?
Monty Williams.
Yeah, you're right, Monty. I'm thinking of Dwayne.
Dwayne Casey was the last 3 years.
He was the last coach.
That project failed. We were 2-1, and then have lost 20 in a row.
Damn.
Yeah, went from.
No, you're right. I got it mixed up. I'm still thinking of Dwayne, because Dwayne didn't go well with the young guys. He just didn't mesh. And now that's what I heard, was Monty was coming in, that he's been cleaning that up, that whole mess, trying to get these guys re-engaged.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
We picked our dude 5th last year.
Oh my
gosh. He ain't even playing him.
No. But yeah, it's weird because they got a lot of good. I thought they got a lot of nice young talent there. I like what they're doing there with
Cade Cunningham's the truth, but
Cade Cunningham's a great player. I mean, Ivy, you got Sadiq Bey. I think's a nice wing. I mean,
I don't.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not.
He looked good last year. I don't know about this year, but
yeah, I'm not a fan of Sadiq Bey. I'm a fan of Jaden Ivey, but he hasn't even really got on the court.
No.
I do like Duran and but here, I mean, when you lose 20 in a row, it just at some point you just say, "See you next year."
You're looking forward to the lottery.
Yeah, I
again,
mean,
but
20 straight.
yeah,
Yikes!
they might break the Cavs record from 2011.
But how about Brownie coming back USC today? I mean, that was 4 months after cardiac arrest.
Yeah, made some plays too. He had a nice.
Yeah.
I saw block the shot, and
They
they
did
got
lose.
upset though. Long Beach State, yeah, Long Beach State came in there, and that was a big upset. You didn't see that.
But hey,
coming.
LeBron, what's up? I got up for LeBron.
The last time the Pistons won a game, Joe Flacco was grocery shopping on Sundays at Whole Foods. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I think they won their first 2 games and they looked good. Then that was it. They said that's it. We're mailing it in for the year. So that's the only games we're gonna win. So
You gotta love Dan in the comments section. Oh my gosh!
But
yeah, but he's right. He was in the Whole Foods section probably.
Oh yeah, for sure.
My gosh, I did talk to Joe Picard today, by the way.
Oh, did you? He tried calling me yesterday. I couldn't answer, but
he texted me. He said he's the most tenured manager at his new joint, his new Chrysler Dodge Jeep joint. He's the manager with the most experience there.
Well,
he said he's been a new car manager for 9 months, and the other guy on the desk is 6 months, and another guy has been a manager for 3 months.
Be careful what you say, Dad. I don't want to get any.
No, I know. I know. I went on, and when he called me yesterday, later on I missed his call, so I went on that particular dealership's website to see if his photo was up. And whenever you get a moment, Chris, go on their website and just look at their staff, and you'll know exactly what he's talking about. I mean, it is.
I even looked at it, Chris.
Yeah, it's it almost seems like it's a. It almost seems like it don't even. It seems like it's a joke. I mean, it's like.
I already forgot where he works, so just text me what website. But yeah, he was telling me that they sell about 150 cars a month, primarily new. But he said they're like $4,000 under invoice on every car. They blow out cars.
But yeah, they only have they got like 200 and something new in stock and only 76 used.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they got the staff to be doing 400 cars. When you see the amount of staff that they have, and they're only doing 150 cars, they probably have 3 times the staff, 4 times the staff that I have. And we can do sometimes. We've had months we did 150. That's crazy. But
it had me looking at houses in Texas.
Oh my gosh! When you go on and you look at that personnel, you'll know why.
Yeah,
I mean, it was almost like hilarious. I could not believe this was a car dealership.
Are you saying you're going to go to Texas, Chris?
No, my kids will not like that.
Yeah.
People down in Texas wouldn't like people like us. I like that mentality of Texas. But they wouldn't like the speed that we work. You know what I mean? Because it's much slower down there.
Right. Who's that guy from Detroit? Who's that guy?
Yeah,
that's what they would tell you.
Yeah, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know what hit them. I'll tell you that.
The Long Beach State mascot is the Dirtbags.
Wow,
how about that?
Good grief.
Who had it first, Dan? Long Beach State or you with the Stark County Dirtbag softball team? That's the real question. They might have stole it from you. But
Yeah,
it was good to hear from Picard. I obviously wish him the best, but
yeah, good for him. It's the dealership is literally right down the street from Jerry World.
Oh, it is, huh?
Yeah, he when he was here, he gave me the whole scouting report on it, and so yeah, it's literally right down the road. So,
oh wow,
he's right there in the thick of it. But $4,000 under invoice in Texas.
Yeah, $4,000. He said they've lost money like every month.
Well, again, you just see
Ferguson, get me to the playoffs. Get me to the playoffs.
You see the personnel, you'll know why.
He said, "I'll help you move, Chris. I've had enough of your shit." So, Chris, you might need to look elsewhere. But
I love you, Dan.
all right, Chris, I appreciate you coming on like always, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good week, dude.
All right. I'll see you guys. Text me that ad. I want to look up that dealership. So text me.
All right, I'll send it to you now.
All right. I need a couple dealer trades.
When you see these,
will ship it.
you're gonna be just like, oh my gosh. It's just a
lot different from Ohio.
The retail intensity is certainly lacking.
I
So,
can't wait.
All
right. I'll talk to you guys.
All right.
Well, Dad, we had a great show again. Shout out to Jerry for coming on. Jerry gave excellent analysis. Shout out to Jerry Williams. He played Division I football, and you definitely could tell that time he was breaking it down perfectly. Guy knows the game in and out better just as well as anybody. And
really good dude. Right. Super nice guy.
You can tell a great guy, and can't wait to have him back on.
Yep.
But
so get more and more people on. Get more.
We'll have more guests like that too. Trust me, I got some other guys who were kind of like Jerry, played Division I ball and know the game very well. We'll be coming on soon when the time is available. A lot of times people's schedules don't mix with the show, which is understandable this time of year. But so Dad, why don't you tell people why they just like, subscribe, and share? How many times we got to tell them?
Great content, great personalities. Just
you got expert analysis tonight. Somebody, not these guys. No offense to anybody in the media, not taking. But a lot of these guys, they don't know what they're. I mean, we had somebody on the night that knows exactly the game in and out. Give you perfect analysis.
All right. I mean, what else could you ask for? What else could you ask for? You know what I mean? So here, share, like, subscribe, share. Again, I'm tired of telling y'all, like, subscribe, share. It's a great show. Like I said, I've seen all the blood and sweat and the tears behind it, and it's refreshing to see someone so passionate doing something so helpful for others, outside of the football. And the football end of it is what we do in sports is entertainment, and but the other side was where it's really at. And there could just be one little thing that's said in one episode that could change someone's life. So share it. It could change your life too. Other than that, have a good week.
Yeah.
It's my last week. I'm on vacation.
That's right. Like, subscribe, share.
All right.
Said. All right, we're out of here.
See ya.
Go.